Good day everyone, so in yesterday's video we examined how you can play Clorinde and Kokomi together, and basically the idea is to use a Hyperbloom team. And of course someone said in the comment section, but what about a Taser team? Well, I tried it in this Abyss, and as I thought, it's kind of difficult for a couple of reasons. A, the first halves, and even to a certain extent the second halves, aren't that conducive to the Taser teams. But moreover, how are you going to get a proper cooldown cycle going? That is the bigger question, because if you're just using Clorinde for triggering Taser, well, you're going to have to give Kokomi the TDS and the Tenacity set in order to buff up Clorinde's attack, and we're going to have to use an EM Goblet on Clorinde, and it's just not going to hit as hard as if you'd used Hyper Bloom or like a spread team. So that's what we'll do today. I'm going to revisit what we did in yesterday's video, so you can see the full builds for the characters. Obviously Clorinde's at C0R1, but we'll use the Dendro Traveler instead of Nahida, mostly because my Nahida is C6 and it's kind of a bit of bit of cheating. So the idea behind today's video is to show you how you can use the core of Fischl, Clorinde and Kokomi and then use an extra unit and play around their cooldown cycle. So that's the big thing that I want you to look at. Look at when the elemental skills come online, the elemental bursts come online, and generally what the pattern of play is here. I don't like to use the word rotation, but rather the pattern or the ways in which you want to engage. So you can see here, roughly by the time that Clorinde's elemental skill is now on cooldown, you can refresh Kokomi's Jellyfish, you can refresh Oz, you can then start building again your elemental burst with Clorinde, you can then go to the Dendro Traveler, set up a field, you can then refresh with Kokomi, you can go to Clorinde, and so the cycle repeats. So that is what we're doing here in the background, also while trying to do a couple of things. We want to manipulate where the enemies are, and we also want to effectively cycle and manage our HP as well as our elemental burst for the next floor. And as you guys can see now, I'm just slowing down a bit to get some extra particles, just to have a bit of an easier time against the little Coppelius duo. So let's go and fight Coppelius. The idea here now is to do exactly what we did. We start off with Fischl, try and get, if we lucky, 2 elemental skills and a casting. There's Kokomi's Jellyfish. So we set up the Hyper Bloom. We're now going to go into Clorinde's stance. We're going to hit, and try and dodge using Clorinde's E ability. It's very easy to do this with a bit of practice. Refresh the Jellyfish, and so the pattern is going to continue. Although sometimes you might want to, and what you'll see what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to refresh Kokomi's Jellyfish, but because of how the enemy's cooldowns, for instance that little ice shield went, I didn't put down an extra Jellyfish, I just now activated the aggravate damage instead of the Hyper Bloom. So there are two kind of styles that you can put down here, and then obviously as you saw there, I then activated again the Jellyfish, which now allows me to get into a bit of a different cycle. So there are different ways of playing these teams about when you want to use the different cooldowns, and that can just then allow you to be flexible in a couple of different situations. Regardless, once again, I'm just trying to get up a couple of elemental burst particles and stuff for the next floor, but having about 2 minutes for the second half again is entirely doable. It just depends on the type of teams you have on that side. Right, so let's go to the final floor, and I think here the difference between the Dendro Traveler and Nahida really start to show. Even at C0, your Nahida would make this far more comfy, because by the time you clear out this wave, for instance, you could now refresh here with Kokomi's Jellyfish, now cast let's say Nahida E, then go to Fischl, and that would make life a lot easier, because that extra damage that you're getting from Nahida, it adds up quite a lot over time, whereas with the Dendro Traveler, you're not getting that much. I mean, that's kind of the idea here with a free character. But regardless, you can see we're busy chocking and beating up the enemies. It's not that difficult, but you do need to be careful, because the longer this battle continues, the more likely it is that your cooldowns are going to start becoming out of sync, and that just it depends on A, how you play, and B, where the enemies are and what you need to do. So there are a couple of ways this can go, and I think this is where the skill comes in managing Clorinde teams and how you might wish to respond dynamically. For me, I I love this. I love this playstyle where making decisions and deciding, hey, I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go another way, I'm going to use this cooldown. That to me is Genshin Impact, and hence, if you know me very well, that's why I hate characters like Bennett, Xingshu, and Xiangling, because I don't feel like that depth of strategy that you can try and push the damage as much as possible is what you get with teams like this where you have Kokomi and other units. In any case, that's what I have to show for you today. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.